He worked as a maritime worker before switching to a journalism and a documentary film production. Sensitive to the contamination of our oceans and conscious of the power of fashion to bring change. He created C2C Eyewear. He likes to say that sustainable sunglasses will not change the world. People that wear will them. Please welcome Francois van den Abeele.
Thank you.
Hola, hola.
You're done. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Please.
Well, we're going to go back to a little story. A romantic story, actually. A story that basically transformed a piece of trash into a glamorous product. Now, when I usually tell a story to my daughter, 6-year-old daughter, I ask her to close her eyes. And I'm going to ask you to do the same thing. Close your eyes for a second and think about the ocean. Think about the beach, the ocean, the sea. And you can open your eyes now. And you probably have something similar to this in mind. Not specifically this one, but something similar to this. And I will tell you, stop dreaming. Because with every romantic story, there's a dramatic start. Stop dreaming because the reality is more like this. It is said that by 2050, there will be more plastic than fish in the ocean. That was said by Ellen MacArthur at the Davos Economic Summit 2016. In terms of weight, there's going to be more plastic than fish in the ocean. Every year, 8 million tons of plastic end up in the ocean. Now, what's 8 million tons? It sounds huge, but what's 8 million tons? 8 million tons is 256 kilos per second. 256 kilos per second. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 1 ton. This is the weight of a car. And that's what's happening to our oceans. Now, I'm sure some of you eat fish on a regular basis. No? Who eats fish on a regular basis? Raise your hand. Most of you. Well, 1 out of 4 fish contains plastic, which obviously gives you a different perspective of your sushi when you have it in your plate next time. 1 out of 4 fish contains plastic. That's dramatic. 80% of the plastic that end up in the ocean comes from the earth, rivers, and 20% comes from maritime activities, which is crazy to think that, maritime activities, maritime transport generates so much waste. Fishermen. And if you look at the type of waste that you find in the ocean, you'll be surprised to know how slow plastic disintegrates. And that's where there's a huge need also of what we spoke earlier, it's education. A cigarette butt is made out of plastic. Most of the people don't know that. It's made out of plastic. It's cellulose acetate. Funny enough that we do glasses with acetate as well. A cigarette butt contaminates up to 50 liters of water. A cigarette butt can take between 1 and 5 years to disintegrate in the ocean. You know how many cigarette butts are thrown on the floor every year? They calculate that 850 cigarettes are smoked by every Earth inhabitant. 850 cigarettes. And 2/3 of that end up on the floor. Now, we're not going to do math here, but imagine the amount of water that we are contaminating. People don't know that. We need to tell people about that. And if you look at all the different types of plastic that we find in the ocean, the one that takes more time to disintegrate are fishing nets, fishing lines, fishing rods. 600 years to disintegrate. That brings us back to when Columbus discovered America. And that's falling in our oceans every year. And it's accumulating in our oceans every year. And the reason I'm saying this, you'll understand it afterwards, is because the deadliest ocean trash today in the ocean are called ghost nets. These nets that are abandoned, thrown by fishermen at sea, cause 1 death every 5 minutes. And they accumulate into islands of waste that with time and weight slowly drop and disintegrate into microplastic. And these microplastic are ending in your plates. If you would put on a flat surface the amount of nets that are being abandoned in the ocean every year, you'd cover 1/3 of the US. Pretty impressive. And so, having, all this information, I said, we need to do something. What can we do? Now, obviously, picking up the waste out of the sea is expensive. What you're bringing out can be damaged. It's very mixed. But maybe we can concentrate on certain types of waste. So what we started doing is working with the fishing communities in Spain. I was not a waste manager myself. I just had a dream, which is always good, not always easy. And I went to see the authorities in Catalonia and the port authorities and recycling authorities, and they guided me to a waste manager, and he became my partner, and we started placing containers in the ports. Why? Because you could, if you're not authorized to put containers in the port, you can just not pick up waste and move it around. So you need to do that with people that are certified for that. And in July 2016, we had the first port with 3 containers. And see that, depending on what ports, but the fishermen are doing a good job. They're playing the game, and they deposit the waste that they generate out of their activity, which is loads of fishing nets and ropes, but also what they are catching in their nets, they bring it back to the shore and putting in other containers. And so we realized that, it makes them feel good. They're playing the game. I mean, fishermen are tough. It's old, traditional jobs, and when you tell them that they have to walk 30 meters to put some waste that they used to throw anywhere, it can take time. But now, we're in 30 ports with 150 containers, and we're picking up more or less a ton per day. This is mainly in Catalonia, but this is growing. We're talking to France, talking to Portugal, talking to the north of Spain, because obviously people know about the story. And so we're picking up 1 ton of waste per day. 1 ton of waste per day. 1 ton of fish nets, as you can see, and ropes, and all that mixed type of plastic. For people that don't know, fish nets are made out of plastic. And what we do is that we bring it back to our plant, where the waste is being separated, selected. So there's a manual work being done there, and that is key. Because obviously, if you want to produce a product out of waste, you need to select that very well. Because otherwise it doesn't work. there's so many different types of plastic that we pick up that we can't just melt it and then produce whatever you want to produce. It has to be very well selected and separated. So there we were with this, big bales of selected type of plastic, transformed that into a reusable raw material. So we upcycle it. And we get these little pellets, which unfortunately I don't have with me because at the control at the airport, they kept it. I keep on telling them that I was doing glasses, but it didn't seem to be credible. And little pellets, pellets are little beads of plastic. So there we are, positive impacts on the ports, collecting all that waste, transforming all that waste, bringing it back to a reusable raw material. And I thought, okay, cool, I could sell the plastic. But I wanted to do something more. I wanted to produce something. I wanted to produce a product that could be mass-produced. Because I think if you want to really bring a change to society, you need to mass-produce products and put as much of them into our homes. Because that's how people realize that we can do things differently. So I wanted a product that raised awareness. A product that people could wear. A product that people need. A product that would be seen. A product that has a visual impact. A product that would generate this do good, feel good, and in this case even look good. And so we looked at the industry. We spoke earlier about mostly garment, textile, but then I realized that in the optical world, the main source of raw material is plastic. It's a $120 billion business, and yet sustainability is almost non-existent. And the main source of raw material is plastic. And I thought, let's give it a shot. So there I am with my raw material, and then I had to find, obviously, some manufacturers. So I went to Milan, biggest eyewear show on the planet. And many people laughed. It's a nice story. Storytelling is also story selling, but that's not going to work. And one company, working for the big brands, said, you know what, let's give it a shot. No one's doing it, let's give it a shot. So I was more lucky that day. 3 weeks later, I took 20 kilos of recycled pellets, flew to Treviso in Italy, went to the plant, dropped the bags and said, guys, here's the raw material. Let's try. And it took a few months. One day they called me and said, Francois, come over. And I remember walking in that office and there were 30 pairs of glasses. And as Carmen said earlier, I wanted to cry. There were my little babies. This crazy story, this dream I had, and there they were. So that was 2 years ago. And obviously, when you work with an upcycled waste, you need to learn about the raw material. So it takes time. You can improve it. The first glasses that came out were hairy. We had loads of different types of problems, but today we can say that we have a quality product. And that's how C2C was born. Obviously, the name C2C is, one of this inspiring day that you have, plastic from the sea to sea. Really happy about that name. And yeah, the product has been improving. Starts are not always easy, but it's true that the story is very powerful. So we started with a small collection of sunglasses, and then we said, hey, you know what? 50% of the population is also wearing optical frames. Why don't we try with optical frames? So now we have a collection of sunglasses, collection of optical frames, made 100% in Italy, which does help in terms of quality control, being involved in the design. It's only an hour away from where we are, and Italians know how to do glasses. So we have a collection of sunglasses, optical frames. We're selling all over Europe. Markets have a different perception of what we're doing. You can see that up north, for example, in Holland, Belgium, and France. They love the story and they buy. We are B2B at the moment, so only selling in optical stores. In the south, in Spain, in Greece, it takes a bit longer. But slowly people are changing. But it's hard because, when you're the first one, it's tough to imply the change. But they love the story. And we're doing collaboration. Recently did some nice collaboration with Vionnet Paris. I'm sure you're familiar with them. Some glasses that you see on top left were designed by Mark Quinn, great British artist. Reproduced some plastic texture. He sent us pictures of some plastic art pieces that he had made, and we reproduced that on the temples of the glasses. So we can do pretty much anything you want. We could do digital printing. We did a great collaboration with Huntsman, which is, for those that live in London, is probably the most famous tailor of Savile Row. We're just launching a collection for La Mer, and working on different collections. Because brands do love our story, and they want to use our story, obviously. And then, going back to, why glasses? Apart from the fact that it's true, plastic is the main material used in that industry, and then sustainability is still non-existent. Going back to what you said earlier, I think products are dead, if you can say. We're going back to the experience. What we're offering to the consumers here is the fact that they feel they are participating in the clean process of the ocean. Simple thing. Very simple thing. But it creates a clients are becoming very faithful with us because, it makes them feel good. And at the end of the day, when you spend money, usually it doesn't, feel that good. But in that case, because of our story and the experience that we generate with the consumers, it makes them feel good. We also live in I'd like to say, like society. And that's something that has changed. Obviously, the industry and the fashion industry is the social networks. When I say we live in a like society, it's because social networks are ego. Change your profile picture on Facebook and no one says like, probably depressed. And having a product that people can use in their advantage to say, you know what? I'm wearing trash, but I look cool. I look cool. I'm saving the planet. And that's why, obviously, sunglasses or glasses do help. I put the picture of Penelope Cruz. You'll understand why later, because she was wearing these glasses at Cannes 3 weeks ago on the second day. And it's just mad to see the reaction of people. I want to be as cool as her. And I knew the story afterwards because I spoke to a makeup artist who was with her all the time. She said, you know what? She wanted to do it. And obviously, I was not aware of that, but there's a code, dress, everything is organized. And the fact that she decided to put these glasses on really proves that, she's also bringing that statement in. It says, I'm using my voice to say, let's make the ocean a better place. It's a very, very simple tool. It's in the middle of your face. And that is thanks to social networks. And obviously for us as a brand, it's great because it's, creates a lot of awareness. So I think that's the role fashion has to play. We need to buy clothes. We always need to buy clothes. We need to buy food. And most of us, at a certain age, will also need to buy glasses. Why don't we do it in a positive way? And I think that's the role of fashion. The fashion is a vector to communicate. It's a tool to communicate. And at the end of the day, this is an excuse. It's just an excuse. These glasses are a statement. I want things to be different. That's what I said before. I'm wearing trash, but I look cool. I'm saving the ocean. And yeah, that's the project that's going on as well. It's C2C Foundation, where basically what we want to do is create some collection points in different parts of the world. First one probably in Senegal or in Gambia, where we want to have more of a social impact on the communities that work with us. Money talks. So the idea is to incentivize them to collect waste, pay them for their work, educate them about the problem, but we buy the waste and we source our raw material. And use these collection points to offer eye surgery every year with doctors that would go down with us. So in order to summarize, what is C2C? I think it's a win-win-win. First, is the impact we have on the environment. And obviously, if you look at the size of the problem, we're not solving much. It's a little drop. Every eyewear that you wear equals to 100 square feet of preserved ocean, because that's more or less the amount of types of nets that you can upcycle to produce a pair of glasses. So win on the environment because it's also the impact that we have on the fishing communities that we work with. You create awareness. You educate them. That's the first win. The second win is about circular economy in fashion. We are disrupting the optical world. I like to say we are eco-disrupting the optical world with a new resource, which is trash. And the third victory that we have is with our consumers. They're becoming ambassadors of change. Every customer, because of the experience that he has with our product, does tell the story. And every customer tell the story, but also think about, let's consume in a different way. When you walk in an optical store and you see, our glasses in a rack, so why would I buy this pair of, I'm not going to name other brands, but these are having a positive impact. I go for these. So this is a little surprise that we had 3 weeks ago. You're going to see the process. The first part of the process with some great bunch of fishermen with whom I've spent a lot of time. And I'll let you see the surprise we had.
So it's dark outside because it's 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm on my way to see a group of fishermen outside Port Blanes, Girona, Spain, who do way more than just fishing. What they do every day is to collect plastic waste from the ocean and use it to create beautiful sunglasses, which is pretty amazing. This startup, C2C, was the Spanish winner of Chivas Venture, which gives away $1 million every year to the most promising social startups from all around the world. So let's go and say hi. Buenos días. ¿Qué tal, hombre?
Mirad quién hay.
Chicos, sorpresa.
Pues ya no caigáis. Pedro, vamos a meternos en el mar, ¿no? A recoger pescado y otras cosas, ¿no? Desgraciadamente, ¿no? So, Mark, my friend, I heard that in 2050 there might be more plastic in the ocean than fish.
It's incredible what you can find there. It's full of straws, of washing machines, bottles, plastics. Everything you think is there.
Wow.
Everybody must do something for this problem. It's not a problem for us, for fishermen. It's a problem for everybody.
Wow, look at that. I mean, we've been here only for an hour, and the net has caught all of this amount of chunk. So, Francois, my friend, on your experience, do you think the amount of plastic in the ocean is increasing?
The amount of plastic in the ocean is increasing. That's why it's important to collect it. That's what we do with all these boats in different parts of Catalonia. When the plastic is properly selected, it's being recycled, and then we produce glasses. And I have one for you.
Look at that. Oh, my God. Is this really recycled
Yes,
plastic?
100%.
Wow, it's pretty amazing. It is pretty amazing. My friend, it is pretty amazing. It is. I mean, I don't think I look good ever, but I'm sure the glasses look great. I've always loved the ocean, and being here and witnessing firsthand the scale of the plastic waste issue has made it even more real for me. Social and environmental issues often seem too big to try and tackle, but the Chivas venture is showing there are amazing people across the world who are willing to do just that, creating businesses that are changing the future of our planet for the better. It's pretty inspiring.
You can imagine the surprise of the fishermen. Yeah, it was a great day. So yeah, thank you very much. Going back to what Valeria said initially, you know, what we do is a small drop. I know that we're not going to save the ocean from plastic, but you know, sustainable glasses, as I said, will not change the world, but people that wear them will. Thank you very much. Yeah, pass them around. As well.
No, first I had to try. I want to try. No, look. Good. Okay, you put this on and let's do the.
Yeah, pero un sticker ahí que tienes que quitar.
It's okay. They're very soft. Oh, congratulations, amazing. A ver, hola, hola. Ahí estamos. Hola. Well done, very good.
Do you want me to wear
Very
these?
impressed. They're very and very light. So, with this, the plastic, we can produce only glasses,
No.
or you can do whatever.
I mean, you've seen a presentation yesterday with type of plastic that you can do.
With that
you can do-
plastic, and
yeah,
you use
can
it
do loads
only
of
the
stuff.
nets of what you
Yeah,
get.
we collect
after this-
loads of different types of plastic, but then we found out that you could do glasses with bottles, you know, you could do glasses with, but then, you know, we've tried different types of material and realized that certain types of nets can produce, made out of certain type of plastic, are the ideal solution to produce glasses, or to produce yarn. So you can do with loads of different types of waste, but then, you know, we decided that these type of plastic were better. But the thing is that 90% of what we collect is put in these big bales and being sold. So there's only 10% that we don't use. But we don't use these 90% to do the glasses, because otherwise we'd be providing, you know, glasses for the entire industry.
What do you do with the
It's
waste
sold.
that you don't?
It's sold to
you
companies that
sold to other
upcycle it, that do
companies?
yarn, and then, you know, brands buy the yarn to produce their clothes.
Do you pay for the fishermen or no, to get
No,
the things?
no.
Okay, yeah, Antonio.
I am absolutely jealous of Javier Bardem and Penelope Cruz.
Let's do you do Javier and I do Penelope.
So, I am old already. Can I use the glasses, man?
Sí, sí.
And baby, please come over here. Let's shoot this. Let's use the social networks.
But I'll tell you what you have to say. What we did with Javier.
All right.
He said that, so because after all that filming, we spent all day together, and I said, Javier, let's do this. He said, yeah, let's do it. And we used a social network. And he said, let's save the ocean in style.
Yeah, you're right.
Let's wear C2C.
Yeah.
You see?
But I liked your line before. Come here.
But then take out the
No,
glasses.
he's just saying, you know, I wear garbage. And I look cool.
Let's save the ocean in style.
Yeah, let's save the ocean style.
And wear C2C.
Yeah, you know.
You see what jealousy does?
Awesome, man. Done.
Done.
He want more. He want more likes. You will have more likes than Javier. Don't worry.
Can I keep the glasses? No, just kidding.
I'll give you the glasses. I'll give you the glasses.
Ay, ay, ay. Bueno, so do we have any questions
Enjoy these.
here?
I
These
do.
ones? Okay. Yeah, please.
Hi, my name is Angie Cohen. I am an educator about sustainability and fashion. I'm actually very excited that we're doing this every year. But today, if you look around the room, there is not one person under 20. And really, the future is the kids. Your daughter is 6 years old. The planet is for her. We are not educating that generation of kids. I would love to talk to somebody about creating workshops for the schools all over the world. Let's teach the kids at 6, because your daughter is very smart. I teach, I see that. And the responsibility that they do take, because these kids go home after a class about the environment and they see those pictures and they are concerned. They know that something bad is going to happen. They take it to heart, and it becomes to them a second nature to separate the garbage, to really be aware what's good for the environment. The other day we were teaching the kids what is a footprint, what happens if you do not do the right thing. And after that we created a shoe ourselves out of garbage. But the point is that education is essential, but not us, I'm sorry, but we're basically done. I mean, we can talk about it. We can seriously. I don't mean to be rude, but the truth is, what are we doing? We're just talking, guys. Every year we meet and we discuss it and we talk about it, but the action is out there. It has to be done with this new generation of kids. This is the future. This is their world. So we need companies to put money into educating programs in the school system. You know, after-school programs can be educating kids about sustainability, about the importance of saving the environment. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So what do you think? I think she's right. We have to educate, but I think that younger kids, are more educated than us in this. We have to invest more in school, but I don't know. I learn a lot from my kids. I have 4 at home, and I learn a lot from them because they learn at school, and they have different programs, and so they ask me to close the water, let's separate the garbage, and but of course this is they have to understand that this is for them, no, and for the future.
But going back to what you said, it's true. Obviously, at home we speak a lot about plastic and waste, but the funny thing is that what the C2C story has, the type of impact it has is, on my friends, on the followers that we have social networks, but on my friends. Every summer I get zillions of pictures of friends' kids with a piece of plastic saying, hey, can we do glasses? It's just, it has a positive effect. So it's not, it's much more than, that's why I always say, the glass is not going to save the planet. but people that are part of this entire movement that we're trying to generate, you know, let's consume in a different way. We can't do it. It's tough. We're small, you know. There's huge, I mean, the optical world is managed by huge corporations, and I'm scared. I'm scared because I see they buy my product online. I've seen it, you know, the 5 big ones. I saw the R&D department buying my products online, and I, you know, whoa, you know, it's really scary. Because as you know, you were saying earlier, they eat you in half a second. And you're the first one, and you're rowing, and sweating, and you know, and your daughter asks you, "Why are you coming home so late? You know, with all this white hair, you look like grandfather now." You know, but it's like this, and it's tough, and it's scary because obviously, you know, funding, etc., etc., etc. So it's hard to be the first one, and, you know, open the eyes, but especially because there's some giants behind that can just say, you know, hey, nice story, this guy, C2C, wow, we saw it with Bardem, Penelope, wow, she, super story, copy, bye-bye, and I'm out. You know, so it's tough, but it's worth it.
And don't you get any help from the government?
Mm-mm.
Did you try?
Uh,
Because you're working for them, no?
Let's not get into politics. You know, in Catalonia, they have other problems at the moment.
They don't care about the sea.
You know, they say they do, but you know, there's other priorities. I don't really know. I mean, it's, you know, but that's a different subject. So it's, you know, they are, and actually, you know, China closed their borders to plastic at the beginning of this year. So before, you know, loads of European countries were exporting plastic to China. They were recycling it. But now China said, you know, over. We're not the big waste place of the planet. And so Europeans are starting to understand we have to do things differently, and what do we do with our waste? And there's a plan of action between now and 2030 on different types of waste that, you know, how should we do it? And they announced, I think it was yesterday or the day before, huge amount of money to help kind of initiatives like ours, you know, in recycling, et cetera. So it is encouraging. It is very encouraging, but it also takes time, you know, and yeah, but we'll get there.
Great. Do you have any questions?
Yeah.
Here.
Hi,
yeah.
is it working? Yes.
Valeria.
Yes,
I
Valeria.
remember your name.
Hi. I have a question for you. I've been writing about sustainable fashion and a conscious lifestyle because I think it's more of the lifestyle, not so much fashion. We need to change our mindsets a little bit too. And my question to you is this. I'm an influencer. I founded an agency that works with conscious influencers worldwide, and now we're launching an app. And the question, I guess the issue that a lot of scientists and biologists and even authors and designers that I've talked to is that humans are not awakening. The information is out there and it's still very slow. So my question to you is, what can we do besides writing about you and promoting everything that you're doing and buying your products? What can we do as influencers and as consumers to help you guys? Because you're already giving us the tools and the products needed for the change. So what else can we do?
As influencers?
As everything. Influencers, humans.
Influence.
Yes.
Influence.
Yeah.
You have a voice. You have a voice. You know, you're
That's what we're
influencers,
doing.
you have so many followers, you have a voice.
Exactly.
You
We're
know, it's
using
the
all
same
of our
as
social
what we
media.
saw with Javier and Penelope. They have a huge voice. And, you know, what Antonio did now, they have a huge voice. I mean, that's, you know, this helps a lot. So that's your role.
And
if you
as-
believe into it, use it. You know, but the thing is that there's a lot of greenwashing around as well, you know, and money talks. So we had done a screening of influencers that, you know, promote green, eco, sustainable values, I care for the planet, da, 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 da. So, okay, well, you know what, I'll send them some glasses, maybe she can put a picture, you know. 90% ask for money. It's like, you know, it doesn't go together. So there's a lot of greenwashing around. And that's why, you know, big brands also, I think, you know, well, you mentioned some designers earlier, there's no use to do one-shot big promotion and marketing campaign about, you know, this designer doing super dress at the Oscars, red carpet, all sustainable, made out of, you know, upcycled plastic, and there's nothing behind. You know, at the end of the day, you can't buy that. So that's why I said you need to mass produce recycled products of quality, you know, because my glasses, if you see in optical stores, you see no difference with the one. So you need to mass produce these products and have them as in many homes as possible. Because that's when people start realizing, say, whoa, you know what? I'm wearing trash, and I look cool. You know, I'm doing something. That's how it works. And then the pricing, going back to the pricing that we spoke about earlier, it's true. I don't want to be too expensive because I'm a small brand. You know, because today what I'm trying to do is to bring the message out. You know, it's made in Italy, top quality. The guys that do these glasses do the, you know, the biggest brand that you know. But don't price it too much, you know, because I want people to play the game.
Exactly.
I want people to get into what we're doing. You know, we're creating this big family of people, you know, think differently. Wear the change that you want to see.
And I think that's something that we're seeing as influencers too. Like in the agency, most of the people that we're working with are millennials. They're the ones that are interested in this movement.
75% of millennials want to know what they're eating, what they're wearing.
Exactly.
You know.
They're changing their lifestyles, but most of them don't have the budget to be spending $300.
That's why you can't be too expensive.
Exactly. Okay.
You know, there's 3 elements: the story, the price, and the quality of the product. People will like your product because it looks good, not because of the story.
Thank you.
The story will bring the people to the product. If it looks good and has a decent price, then we'll buy it. I can have a super story with a super product, but if it's too expensive, again. So it doesn't work like that. So it depends how you manage these 3 elements. But I think, yeah, the story has to be powerful. Storytelling, story selling.
Everything's connected.
But let's not be crazy with the prices. You know, the margins, the optical world are big, and fashion is big as well. You know, when you cut down intermediaries, you can do. Sorry.
Or at least they cannot pay it now, but at least they receive the message, no, to do the things right
Yeah.
and to grow in the right
They
way.
can pay the C2C, I tell you.
Are you? Please.
Francois, I have a 2-part question. One, what I asked Carmen, how do you, when you collaborate with other brands, how do you make sure that your brand travels through? How do
Okay.
you make sure the Intel Inside stays? Because that to me is a big concern. That is what innovation will continue if small brands who've sweated it out, who've, you know, hypotheticated these houses and everything to make something.
Okay,
will
I'll tell you a
continue,
story.
and the big brands don't just take it away.
You know, I was at the Mido optical fair a few months back. Mido is the biggest eyewear fair on the planet in Milan. With a nice stand there, and suddenly a few people from one of the 5 big group came in, started looking at my product. Wow. And my stand is, you know, they know good-looking people on the, I mean, the boards that you see is a dirty beach. You know, a nice picture of a dirty beach, but it catches people's attention, you know. And I see, and they're looking at the products, and they give me their card, so I knew who they were. Gave me the card, and I'm scared. You know, I mean, these are the big guys. You know. Wow, well done, nice, looks good. Okay, and then they leave. And I get a phone call from my manufacturer an hour later. He said, hey, by the way, these guys came over. They're asking if I can produce the same glasses as you have without your name, with using my raw material. I was like, what? You know, it's there. It's the jungle out there. And thank God these guys are faithful, and you know they've been supporting me since the beginning. And it's hard. So they came back, and I told them, guys, you know, you don't do that. I mean, you cannot promote a sustainable, ethical business, and you do it the other way around. You know, you're trying to screw me here. Sorry for being vulgar, but it's, you know, it was the reality. And so we organized a meeting. I went to Italy, and they, you know, all of them, and I said, listen, if you want to do something with C2C, we'll do it, but we do go branded. You know, so it's your own brand by C2C or C2C4. Like these, you know, like this one for this super brand in London. It doesn't cost anything for them, and I think it's even beneficial for them to be part of, you know, helping a startup that's trying to do things differently. You know, it goes in their favor, or no? And so they said, okay, yeah, I agree. So now we're discussing, can't reveal the name, unfortunately, making 2 products together. But I said, you know, and the thing is that, he said, yeah, but sell us your you know, sell us your raw material. I said, what? 2 years of work? And you just want to use my story because you have a lot of money and just go boom. And I had a lot to risk there, you know, because it can happen. I said, no, sorry, you know. And so now we're fine. And yeah, these things happen. I mean, it's a jungle, you know, people looking for stories, they're looking for experiences, and this is, it's a good story.
The other part of my question is about the price, and this is something I come across over and over again. We talk about costs, and one of my concerns is we all focus on the price tag. We don't focus on the price we don't pay. So everything that's cheap to me is very expensive. I always say to people in Spain, where I come from, the line outside of Primark is directly related to the line outside INEM. So no one should ever imagine that someone's going to come and give them a job if they're not giving jobs around themselves.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of education I would love the influencers to go and talk about. When you talk about price, I would love for people to understand that it's better to save money and support a brand where he spent 10 years or 3 years or 10 years like Carmen to make a product than to go out and buy something cheap just because you can use and throw it away, because it's your future you're investing in. So what do you from C2C, I mean, I understand, I know how cutthroat the market is. What do you do from your side about, you know, in trying to get the consumers focus on value than price?
That's what I said, that's how I said, you know, before, the 3 elements. The story is good, but the quality of the product has to be there, because you compete with the others. But it's still money that you have to spend. So there was a story of a brand that's from Belgium, where I'm from, and they were trying to get into the American market. And they priced at, I think it was $50 or $60. And it's just not that expensive. I mean, low-cost glasses around 30, 20. I mean, and the people were saying they don't manage to get in because we don't know if that product is good quality at a cheap product, or bad quality, an expensive price, sorry. So is it good, expensive, or is it bad? Is it bad, expensive, or is it good, cheap? Where are we? So I had to raise their price. So, I mean, you know, money talks. And it's true that it's all what we're doing, trying to help, and it takes time and sweat, but money is important. You have to generate the best experience. It's hard to price your product, and you get into a market like the optical world. I mean, there's 3,500 brands of glasses, you know, so, what's that? Well, there's 5 companies, but one has 85% of the market. One. So it's a monster, you know. They rule the world. They rule the world. So my strategy was, okay, first, quality of the product. So the Made in Italy help these guys know how to do glasses. You come up with something good. Second, let's go and sell it where it's the most difficult. Where is it? Opticians. You know, these are the bad guys. You know, because to sell your glasses in a sports shop, it's easy. They just buy the story. They don't care. It's polarized, okay, I'll buy. You know, but the optician, he takes it, open it, take out, does he work cold? You know, the pressure, they're the bad guys. But now we're there. I only sell to opticians at the moment. So it's quite good to have that, you know, green light. And I can sell in, you know, different types of retails. But yeah, I don't know what to say. You just have to find the adequate price for what you think you want to reach, or what's your objective. My manufacturers say, you should price it almost double. I said, no, at the moment I don't want to cross 100 euros. I just want to stay below, because when people know the story and they see the quality of the product, and this is a copy of one of the, you know, top brand that there's a market, and you tell the price, that cheap? I take 2, see? So, yeah, it's difficult. But as Carmen said earlier, you know, the price is price. It's tough. Pricing policies, and you know, it's tough.
Do we have other questions? Oh yeah, please.
Hello, my name is Gabriela, and I'm 16 years old. So I believe that yes, the children are the future, and I'm a vegan, and everything that I do is revolved around the benefit of the planet. And I've been the one in my family to introduce this type of ideology and way of thinking in my family. And my parents didn't grow up the same way I did. They grew up in the rural sides of next to the cities where everything was made in front of them, like everything was grown in front of them. So this ideology of how the fashion industry being the most destructive industry in the world, and getting where your food comes from, where everything comes from, it wasn't the same for them because I'm from a different society. So I've grown up trying to show not only my family but the ones around me of this new life that should be implemented. And so the idea of reaching out to children, I think, is very important, because not only children but their parents, because children are influenced by where they come from. And I guess I'm the exception, but it's that idea that's going to change the way people think. And I am trying to do what I can in my community to change the way people think. And I'm sorry, I saw a slide of United Nations.
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't explain that.
Because I attend a lot of conferences for Model United Nations, and
I went there
I'm very interested in that. So my question was, what was your work with
the UN?
United Nations?
No, they invited me last year. Was the Ocean Summit, first Ocean Conference in New York, and because the C2C invited me to be there, and it was really funny because I was in a conference where you had heads of states, and the guy that you saw was a Belgian Prime Minister. And well, I was just attending the conference, and I happened to meet his press attaché, and I told him a story about C2C. And he said, yeah. I said, I'd love to give him some glasses. He said, I gave them to him. And he said, no, I'll get the guy. So I'm introduced to the Belgian Vice Prime Minister. I tell him about C2C, and it was really funny because he was not paying attention to what I'm saying at all. So I'm there with my glasses talking, C2C, and he's looking to his briefcase. And a bit of education. I'm Belgian, And then he takes out this paper, put the second page, and he says, I know you. And the last two lines of the speech he was giving in the assembly the day after was saying, we need to help startups like C2C that are, bring value to waste, My hair was like, whoa. So that picture is the day after in the assembly. I gave him some glasses. He put the glasses on. Maybe I can show it. He put the glasses on, and he gives his speech with the glasses, and he look at the people around like, whoa, what's happening? It was the first time some head of state was putting glasses in the assembly. It was amazing. It was amazing. And that's just, so that's the anecdote with the United Nations. And I was crying,
Thank
you. Yeah, it was fun.
Thank you.
Hi.
Do we have other questions? Yeah, Carmen.
Francois,
Tell me.
thank you so much. Wonderful, inspiring, everything we know.
And to you.
No, listen, we're talking about you now. We're talking about you. So about education, I want to say that I totally agree with everybody. I did a tiny little workshop in a school in the middle of London about the story of Piñatex. I had little symbols with the ananas, and there was the ananas granddad, the grandmom, the daddies going to the farm, the children going to school, and the idea is to do a school for children. A school bag with Piñatex that is good for the people of the poorest families that I'm working with, but somebody in the center and the high school in someplace else in the world, they can have the same, they can talk about it. Anyway, that's my little story. I totally agree, and those kids, they were like, wow, right? I'm going to start talking to the other kid at the other side, and my granddad needs a little grandchild or whatever. It's beautiful, it works. So, yes, education. But my other thing is, let's go beyond the wonderful work that you're doing, EcoAlf is doing, and the reason why we've got all this rubbish in the seas that you're trying to sort out, it's because at one point, after this all industrial revolution, we stopped thinking about nets can be made with something else. Does anybody know about that? Nets have been done forever with natural fibers. Now, there is one particular natural fiber that I absolutely love, I work with, which is abaca. Anybody knows about abaca, right? Abaca comes from the banana. It's not a tree, it's actually a grass, right? That is a 3-meter long, it's strong, it's 8 times stronger than cotton, and it's got a very particular thing, which is, it doesn't rot in salted water.
But how long does it last?
Hey, it doesn't rot in salted...
How much strength it can hold?
Hey, it can tow... Hey, hang on. It can tow a big transatlantic or big boat that used to do that. Plastic came, it's not because it doesn't do the job, it's because it's so much bloody cheaper, right? And why can we not? Can somebody here please start a new business? I'll help, right? A new business, sorry? Okay, somebody else's. Honestly, abaca works. I've seen it because I work in the Philippines. The biggest industry they had before plastic was actually ropes. And the ropes were used for nets. And abaca is so plentiful, and it gives so much employment, and it's also another waste, and it works. Hey, come on, let's do something, right? And I mean it, right?
It's already working.
It's already working.
It's already working in Africa.
Good.
They are develop the weave out of the banana to create. The girls couldn't go to school because they had their period. So they use that as a textile.
Yeah, I know what it is.
So it's already, someone is already thinking ahead. It's not being used.
We're not being super creative here. We're just going back to the knowledge we had before and using that before plastic came. And we really have to think that way. That's what I want to say. A new business, right?
Thank you. Thank you, Carmen. Do we have one more questions? Are we ready to go? And bueno, thank you very much.
Thank you
Francois.
to you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Bueno, tomorrow.
Now,
this is
let's
for me.
save the ocean in style.
Of course. Of course. Thank you very much. Bueno, we see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, 10 o'clock, we're here for the last day of the Miami summit. So please don't miss it. Okay? See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you.